I'm
Rawr!
angry about cats.
When did we all get this dumb? Almost only counts in horseshoes, hand grenades, and nuclear warfare. I don't see any bodies, so it doesn't count.
I'm angry about cats.
I'm the chef. I want to hear one thing. Yes, chef. Come on, man. Use your brain. The Why I'm Angry podcast starts now. I moved it. Come on, man. In Flanders Field, the poppies blow. Between the crosses, row on row. The mark our place, and in the sky, the larks still bravely singing fly. Scarce heard amid the guns below, we are the dead short days ago. We lived, felt dawn, saw sunsets glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders Field. Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you from failing hands we throw. The torch be yours to hold it high, if ye break faith with us who die. We shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders Field. Every year we kind of take that poem and we do something with it. We read it and just kind of have a moment. It is Veterans Day, and at the Why I'm Angry podcast, obviously, we're patriotic and we believe in the sacrifice that our fallen heroes have given to us, and those who have fought in battle. We we honor them every day. Really, we try to, and it's the Why I'm Angry podcast. So let's get into it. I got Carson with me here today, and we're going to talk a little bit about everything. We got Veterans Day, and I went out and ate with my father-in-law, one of the few living veterans that I still have in my life. It was a good time. It's nice to see companies around the country really honoring our veterans. Something that we've kind of fought with over the last few years is Veterans Affairs, the VA, getting what he's due for medical, just payments and stuff like that. And it was just nice today to be able to honor them. And I went to a couple different restaurants because I was picking up food for somebody and doing that, and just try to talk to a couple of veterans and happened to talk to a couple of Vietnam veterans. And the one guy said, he goes, I don't know that I would give 10 cents to do it again, but it was definitely an experience. And that's how he kind of had looked at it. But yeah, so I felt for him. But yeah, so Veterans Day.
Absolutely. Thankful.
So yeah.
Yeah.
And something I also heard today on Veterans Day, and I kind of watched over my shoulder as I was trying to get through. We have a ton of stuff going on in the news, like today. If you haven't been looking and participating in the news today, you've got a lot to catch up on. We had a Syrian leader, or the Syrian leader, come to the White House and meet with the president for the first time ever. We've never had a Syrian leader come to the White House. That would be similar to a new Iranian leader coming to the White House. I mean, we've had sanctions on them for years and years. And they've normally been a sponsor for terrorism. So we normally don't meet with them and things. So this is a pretty big deal. But, and then just the regular stuff. We got some quotes from the Pope to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
We've got I think we're going to lighten it up with some sports this afternoon, and just check in on everybody's fantasy teams and stuff like that. So I know I think Carson beat me this week in fantasy football, so it was a rough week for me. But yeah, so Veterans Day. give me a few thoughts on Veterans Day. Have you ever been able to go to a Veterans Day like funeral or a memorial or anything like that? Have you gotten
Yeah.
out to some of those things?
I think one thing that I remember, oh man, I don't remember how long ago it was, but we went to Washington, D.C., me, mom, dad, Joshua, and Catherine, I think. It's when they lived in Virginia.
Yeah.
And we went to like the memorial there, and that was pretty neat. And we saw the exchanging of guards and stuff like
Okay.
that. Yeah. So
That's cool.
That's probably the most significant thing I could think
And
of.
then that's what I watched. I just watched. They played the taps and the exchanging and the laying of wreaths on the tomb of the unknown soldier, and they did the
Yeah.
That is something, honestly, I've never gotten to do.
Yeah.
I've been to DC probably 4 or 5 times at least, like downtown DC, and even last year when I went, we went to the Library of Congress and stuff like that, and kind of took my mother-in-law around so that she could kind of see it, and still didn't get over to Arlington. And that's one of the places, like I said about Hawaii and Pearl Harbor, like just one of those places where I'm sure you feel the spirit of
Absolutely.
something happened. These people stood for something, and just that heavy spirit.
Yeah. I think when I went, it was a cloudy, rainy day too, so that definitely added to the effect. Yeah.
I don't know if it gets sunny on Arlington.
Literally.
I think it just is
No,
always
that's what I
cloudy.
was gonna
Like
say.
you're just like
Yeah.
it could be the sunniest thing. Like you're in the sun in DC, and then you get on the train to Arlington, and you're like, is that clouds?
Yeah.
Is that?
That's
But
funny.
yeah, no, because I think even 2 or 3 times that I went to like the Vietnam Memorial and stuff like that, it was the same type of deal. It was just like,
Right.
the sun is behind clouds, whether it's there or not.
Mhm.
But so yeah, definitely just a good day that if you've got a veteran, somebody who's fought, and this is one thing I also thought about, or that I had heard. I was going to say earlier, is that if you didn't fight, if you were prepared to fight, if you don't have, not that you're a veteran, but I've always felt kind of like, I should have gone. Like if like as a patriot, as a person who feels strongly about my country, I've always felt a little just that little apprehensive that I didn't go.
Yeah.
And it probably wasn't for me. I'm not a very regimented person. Maybe it would have helped me become more regimented and things. And then we've talked about ADHD and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that definitely is not, regiment is definitely not in my wheelhouse. I'm trying more as I get older, and doctors are trying to prescribe me with medications and stuff like that, to follow that. But I definitely probably missed my doctor's appointment for the yearly checkup, because I didn't follow through and schedule it
Right.
a second time. But since my doctor decided to leave his practice and went somewhere else,
Well, there you go.
so
Yeah.
and then they're like, "Yeah, you should schedule the thing," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'll get to it." It's now
Yeah.
November, and
I have to schedule a dentist appointment too, which
right.
I've never done in my whole life. So
Well,
I know.
just get in the habit of doing it, because
That's important.
at 43, I'm not in the habit of doing these things, and yeah, I mean, I think there was probably 10, 12 years where I didn't go to the doctor, and didn't have really a doctor.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when I first had the deep vein thrombosis, they were like, "Well, who's your doctor?" And I'm like, "You."
Yeah.
Because they're like, "Yeah, but who do you normally go to?" I'm like, what? Like, I don't go to the doctor. I don't, I'm healthy. So obviously not, because you're in the doctor's office, can't walk, but
Right.
type thing. But yeah, so, but as a not, as a non-veteran, don't feel bad that you're not a veteran, but at the same time, make sure that you're there supporting the veteran, as a supporter of veterans.
Yeah.
You can feel good about that. And that even if you didn't, even if you weren't in a fight as a veteran, you were willing to put your life on the line. You know, I've got a friend that went to boot camp and got injured, and they sent him home. And I feel like he's always felt bad about that he didn't, that he didn't make it. And they do have they do a good job in boot camp of breaking you down,
Mm-hmm.
so that when you're ready to fight and things like that, there's a base. So there, you have a base of belief that you are this. You don't want to go into a foxhole with a guy that's like, dude, I don't think I should be here.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that I'm built for this. So
Yeah.
they break you down so that you have that. Okay, this is who I am. I'm here as a fighting machine
Right.
type thing. And so I think that at the same time as they do that, if you don't make it through, you feel like a failure.
Yeah.
And I think they want you to feel they want you to feel like a failure because they don't want you to fail.
Right.
So that you're
Some incentive. Yeah.
right, your back is to the wall. Maybe you'll succeed through that.
Mm-hmm.
And so with that being said, if you didn't fight, don't feel bad, but support a veteran. Like,
Right.
do your part now. Get out there and the one thing I've always wanted to do is those honor flights. Where you take a veteran to Washington D.C. to see their memorial and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that's something that I've just, every time it's come up in the Dayton area, I've not had time, or it's been a bad scheduled time for it. But
Yeah.
but you don't even have to do that. Like when we had the food truck, if you had your fatigues on, or you were in police uniform or whatever, we gave you something.
Right.
If it was, we gave you your fries, or we gave you your burger, or I comped a whole meal.
Yeah.
We gave you something.
For sure.
And so I think that's whatever you're in, if you can give them something, that's the deal. So that being said, let's talk just a little bit about the Assyrian, or the Syrian. Sorry, Assyria is from Bible times.
Mm-hmm.
And let's talk a little bit about the Syrian president or leader, because like somebody was saying even today, that he hasn't gotten full control of the whole country yet. There are still areas of the country that it's been a year almost. Like it was October of last year, November 8th of last year, that Assad got on a plane and exiled himself to Russia. It's kind of strange that all of the exiled rulers are going to Russia and hanging out.
Yeah.
But it is what it is, and that also puts a firm grasp of who Russia is in your mind, because sometimes when you listen to Putin talk, and he waxes his historical on how he sees his country of power and stuff, you can say, okay, I understand. Like even when he was talking to man, who was that guy on the radio? He did an interview where he talked about the U.S. left him out to dry when they were trying to bring him into NATO and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
That he wanted to be part of NATO, and they left him out to dry and kind of painted him as a villain. And you could say, okay, I could see how the U.S. would have done that or something like that, but it's also a point of view of the people that you keep in your circle of influence. It's like Stalin was not a great guy.
Right.
Yeah.
So
And when you take power and you never relinquish it to you're never willing to relinquish it to anybody, you're now the perpetual president for life.
Yeah.
That kind of sounds like you might be a dictator.
Yeah. Right.
So this kind of continues to and I can see, like, because you didn't grow up in the Cold War,
No.
and you didn't grow up with with nuclear missiles, the thought of, okay, Cuba can shoot missiles into the U.S. and
Right.
we could all be whatever. You lose the, not fear, but I would say you lose that that respect for, this is, like respect for fire.
Yeah.
If you keep fire in a bin, it's safe. It's there to warm you, keep you warm. Fire in my furnace is not going to burn me.
Right.
But I have a healthy respect for it.
Right.
It's like knives. As long as I keep my hand on the handle and on the top of the blade,
It won't cut you.
it's not going to cut me.
Yeah.
But the second that I don't respect it anymore, you're going to get sliced up.
For sure.
You're going to get burnt. If I go throwing gas on it from a gas can and lighting matches right next to the gas can, I'm probably going to light myself on fire.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what we've done with Russia a lot, or those people who believe that Russia's not that big a deal, is that, yes, it's a big deal.
For sure.
And this is, if we don't respect them, they do have the nukes that could blow the world apart.
And they respect us as well.
And that's why,
right?
yeah, that's how this all works, is that,
sure.
We're big bad America and we just bully everyone. No,
yeah.
we are big bad America because we've won wars. And if we didn't be big bad America, do you think Iran would do anything but, they would run people in here in a second.
Yeah. For
and
sure.
so I think that, yes, like, this is a big deal. It really is. And there are a couple ways to kind of look at this big deal, like why it's a big deal. And one of the ways is that if we can get Syria to become a more democratic, a more Western thinking, I guess, country, then it's a place where we can, they were talking on the news and radio today about putting a base in Syria.
Right.
And strategically on our side of things, the more we keep the fight on in other countries, obviously, the better we are. And we've always talked about that. But to put a base in a country in the Middle East, is always a big thing.
For sure.
There's, they were just talking about Iraq, the base in Iraq in Kurdistan we've lost 0 people in that base.
Yeah.
And so, they talked about people go to, they go and holiday there and stuff like that when they've got like a couple days or something like that.
Yeah. No, that's definitely important.
Yeah.
For safety reasons too. Yeah.
So to be able to have a thumb, or to be able to kind of know what's going on in a country that we've, literally has been like vitriol to us.
Yeah.
It is a big thing. Like it's a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. What makes me think of that too, sorry, I was thinking of a couple things there. One thing is another country that, this is a little off topic, but like Nigeria, all the killings and stuff that have been going on over there. Have you seen that stuff about Christian killings?
Yeah. Yes. I mean,
think I saw Sudan as well.
Right. Yeah. Africa's having a big issue with,
crazy.
like, and what some people don't understand is Egypt has been a big, like, southern Egypt has always been a Muslim held area.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are a Christian in southern Egypt, you're on your own. You're like, this is, your life is not like it's, you live underground as a Christian.
No, you're in danger for sure.
Because they're always going after you, and it's spread more to, like you said, Nigeria and the Congo and all of that has become very Muslim. And if you don't think the Muslim faith is like coming at you,
Yeah.
I mean, we've
Yeah,
got
most peaceful religion.
we've been talking about the big thing in the news lately has been Dearborn, Michigan. And Dearborn has had a population since the late 70s of Muslims.
Yeah.
And it started out with just like one mosque, and and that's fine.
Yeah.
You know, as a so this is where your patriotism and your belief in God or your faith, they don't 100% line up, because as a free country, it's fine for them to practice their faith.
Yeah.
And honestly, as a free country, they have every right to speak out loud and speak their faith. The problem with the Muslim faith is they don't believe you're people if you're not Muslim.
Yeah.
They believe you're an infidel, you're a lower version of a person, and they're in their faith, they're allowed to do.
Yeah, no, they're told to eliminate other
Right.
people that don't believe in Islam.
Right. You're a tool to whatever means they want.
Speaking of Islam too, New York, first Islamic governor ever.
Big time craziness. Like this is like, yeah,
Yeah. I know we didn't talk about that, but I just thought of that.
Yeah,
as
you
well.
would, and that was something that was on the list last week, and just because we've gone through so much over the last like week, with the elections and everything. Like I mentioned it, but that was about it.
Yeah.
Is that you just, and this Islam is this Muslim mayor isn't just Muslim. He's socialist Muslim.
Right.
Like he is.
Yeah. Sorry, not governor. Yeah.
Mayor of New York City, and like just like off the rails crazy.
Yeah.
Like I mean, I guess
On every spectrum. Yeah.
It's
crazy.
Yeah, just like everything he thinks is like he's gonna take all of the buildings, all of the homes away from people, and then give them back to the people as free housing. And,
Yeah.
and it's like, no, that's not freedom.
Yeah.
That's free.
Right.
That's not
Right.
freedom.
Yeah.
This isn't the.
It's bad. I saw like 1 million people said they would leave New York if he got elected.
Oh man,
just would leave.
And what's
It's
sad,
crazy.
what's crazy about it is this guy now has mayorship over. We were just talking about it, the New York Stock Exchange,
Yeah.
Wall Street.
That is we're the biggest exchange in
Right,
the world.
right,
Literally. Yeah.
Right. I mean, the NASDAQ is whatever it is, but
Yeah.
But yeah, the New York Stock Exchange and Wall Street, like that, like he basically has stewardship over the largest financial area in the world.
Yeah, and I saw some companies talking about how they would want to leave New York. A lot of business would want to leave New York because the higher taxing that he said he's going. But you can't move Wall Street. Like that's not going anywhere. You know what I mean?
And that's what's interesting to me, because we even talked about what happens when Wall Street's no longer Wall Street. When it's just like you don't have like when the things that that need stability. Like Wall Street needs some stability.
Right.
Like it doesn't thrive off of chaos.
Right.
Like you see, because people don't want their money to thrive off of like your money can thrive off of chaos. Like that's really where your money actually thrives, is when there's giant ups and downs. But the problem is people don't have there's no confidence, and when there's no confidence, people don't move their money.
Yeah.
They back their money into the safes and into the banks and stuff, and into loans and things like that, as opposed to the market and businesses. And these businesses, and this is where it hurts everybody, is when these businesses can't get their funding, or can't get the funding that they need to be solvent. You see businesses go down.
Right.
And it's not, and some of these companies, like, Frisch has made bad decisions, but that's 100 and some restaurants that employ 25 to 30 people each.
Right.
You know, that's 30,000. That's 3,000 people that just lost jobs.
Employment, yeah.
Right.
Makes that go up.
Because they didn't have the money, and now it's not because of the market, but at the same time, you also got to think people didn't have confidence in that business anymore. The food hasn't changed in 40, 50 years,
Yeah.
and they're not innovating anything or being the best or being the cheapest. And so, because I've always said, and especially in restaurants, you can be the best or you can be the cheapest. If you're in the middle, you're just staling out your failure.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to fail someday. And so we're watching some of these companies that are just straight failing. They're just going down because there's no confidence.
Yeah.
And so that's why this, you know, that's a giant thing is, you know, if he can't instill confidence in his city, which, you know, what is it? New York isn't even 11 million people anymore. At one point, it was Tokyo and New York for the largest cities in the world. I don't think either of them are the largest city anymore. I think it's somewhere in Dubai or something like that.
Probably.
Or China. Probably China. But
I think Tokyo might still be up there.
I know they're both up there still. But at the same point, I know in like the early 90s when I was a kid that they you know, it was a fight between Tokyo and like they were like neck and neck at like 10, 11 million people.
Population wise, I think Tokyo is number one.
Is it still? Okay.
Yeah, at 37 million. That's
okay.
Crazy.
Because I think it was like, and I think it had grown like by the 2000s, like to 20 or so million, and New York at one point had to overtaken them.
Yeah.
You know, it's New York was at like 20 and they were at 19 or something like that.
Yeah,
so,
and then Shanghai's up there, and Delhi, India.
Delhi, yeah.
So,
why else is this important? Because if we don't come into Syria, just to go back to Syria, if we don't do, and this is just purely economic, honestly, if we don't come into Syria and give some influence and we don't start trying to help build their infrastructure back up with not our government but our companies, then China, Iran, all of those places come in and then they reinsert influence.
Right.
And so, you know, not that I know that we don't want to upset anyone. We want to be non-confrontational. Let's not be too great. But why aren't we? Why wouldn't we as a country try to influence another country?
Right.
Like why wouldn't
we've done
we?
it before.
You know,
it's been beneficial.
And why, you know, what is the ethics in not doing it? Like what do we gain by not doing it?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's absolutely proof that socialism has failed, and communism has failed. So, yeah, I mean, you look at what is it, South Korea too.
Right.
Like, why wouldn't we want to instill the best government that we've had in history? Why wouldn't we want to expand
the
that?
one government that has held? Yeah, I can say it has been constantly a force in the world.
Yeah.
For the last 250 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there isn't another government that I can see that has held like that.
No, and expanded like
the
U.S. did. Like,
right.
It just, yeah.
Because you can say, oh, England's been a constant government. Okay, they have been a constant government.
Yeah.
But they've lost 90% of their territories. They've, you know, their expansion, their government has lost their power more than they've expanded their power.
Right.
Like they're not. And this is like, you know, with all due respect, but they're not a a force on their own.
Yeah.
Like if they went out and said, we're going to attack Pakistan, like they would have to get people behind them to do that. Like
Right.
we would have to come up and ally them so that they would be able to, so that they weren't just, and that's why you have allies.
Right.
It's not like, but if we went in and said we're going to, incur into Pakistan and try to take out the Taliban or something like that, then I had a gnat.
I know, I see it.
But then we would do that.
Right, on our own.
Like, yeah, and I'm sure other countries would be like blah blah blah, and they could do that, but they can't stop us.
Yeah.
They're not going to. They're not going to physically actually try to stop us.
And not even just military wise with England, like economically too.
True.
They're really. I wouldn't call them
And
super successful.
Right, and that's 100% true right there too. Is that with that yeah, they don't have, they're importing all of their food, and they're, when you get to the point which we've gotten to, where you're importing a ton of your products that you need for daily life, then you're dependent on other people.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that's what Trump's seen, and that's one of the good things he's brought back to us, is that we can be energy independent.
Right.
We
bring it
can
back
be
to the States,
we can we can sell our beef in other countries. We don't have to just bring, we're not bringing it all in here, but any of our surpluses are now able to go out, because honestly, we make enough food in our country to feed the world. But because of tariffs and because of just random. All right, guys. This is the time where we get off and make you go find us on our podcast. You can get us on our podcast pages, anywhere you get a podcast, Spotify, Spreaker, Amazon, just about anywhere. I'm drawing a blank all of a sudden. Deezer, wherever you get your podcasts, you can get our podcast. We've got podcasts on YouTube and Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, all of those. So get your podcasts, listen to the rest of it. We talk about fantasy football. We talk about just the economy in general, the shutdown, all kinds of stuff. We get to it. Remember, Christmas is coming up, and if you need a gift for that man in your life, or you need a gift for yourself, or you just like giving out good gifts that solve problems for men, Distill Union. It's problem-solving men accessories. So you got wallets and keys and key rings and different things, and they add magnets to things, and they also make them so they're modular, so that you can add the parts that you need. So get on there, and promo code Patriot Parts at distillunion.com, and you get 20% off just by mentioning Patriot Parts. The things that we need as patriots, the parts that we need, Patriot Parts. And also, we just partnered up with a new company. As I've been, working in the garden and things like that, I've seen the need for just good hand protection, good gloves, and so I found a company called Bare Knuckle Gloves. It's the website is by Bare Knuckle, and it's great gloves, leather, made in the U.S. Just the best quality you can get. You can get them with all the little rivets and things like that. You can get pretty ones, and you can just get the regular standard get the job done gloves. And I've loved them. as I've been tearing down the garden and pulling the weeds and getting everything ready for the winter, which just happened to get to us pretty much this week. Like yesterday, all of a sudden I wake up and there's like 3 inches of snow on the ground, and the roads were a mess and schools are canceled, and my 3-year-old says it's Christmas, and was wanting to go out and sled and things like that. So I said, I guess mowing season is over now, and we're into the winter days. So, but as if you're a working man, these gloves are it for you. So we get you 15% off with the same promo code, Patriot Parts, and you can get on there, get some of those some great gloves, and then you'll also help us out a little bit with that. They give us a sponsorship fee and things like that. So get on there, help us out, help yourself out, get some great gloves. Buy some for Christmas. Any farmer or gardener in your life, or anybody that works in the in any kind of industry that you get nicks and cuts and bruises on your hands, you get them some gloves. So also, if you have any questions, it's whyamangrypodcast@gmail.com. Get your questions in, get your articles that we've missed for the week. Get those in, get the things you want us to talk about. Let us know if we're doing a great job. Let us know if we're doing a bad job. We want to hear from you too. And just get in, let us know what's going on. And honestly, this is a pretty good podcast. So get in and listen to the podcast. And just honestly, listening to our podcast helps also. So if you don't got a dime to help us, your listening, your time, your follow, like, and share, that's a great way to support us also. So help us out, and hopefully we can bring you some knowledge, get your brain thinking, and just spread some free thinking knowledge out to you. We love you, and we'll see you next time. Remember to follow, like, and share the Why I'm Angry podcast across all social media platforms and anywhere you get your podcasts. The Why I'm Angry podcast ends now.